Health Connection, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. We are very excited. We have the SMH Pharmacy team here to present these herbal supplements do what? And today our presenters are Sina Belliati,
hey, how you doing?
Richard Weiss, and Kristen Mendoza. So, and Karen Wilson is also here to add support. So thank you guys so much. We look forward to hearing your presentation. There's plenty of time for questions, so feel free to ask throughout the presentation.
All right, and thank you guys so much for coming to hear our presentation today. We hope we have a lot of good information for you and some stuff that you'll find interesting. And like she said, feel free if you have any questions to ask them, and certainly when we finish, we'll have plenty of time for questions as well. So we'll certainly try to answer anything that you might have. Like she said, my name is Rich, and this is Kristen and Sina. And so we want to share some information about vitamins and dietary supplements, and really what kind of effects they really can have for us, and maybe some things about them that you wouldn't have known kind of really are the way that they are. So first off, I want to let you know that myself or any of my colleagues, we're not dietary experts, we're not nutritional experts. You know, we are soon-to-be pharmacists. And so the information that we're sharing with you is information that we've garnered from the different literatures, medical resources, and just kind of sharing the information that we think that you should know in order to help you make the right decisions for your personal health care. And the main things that we're going to cover today is the dietary supplements, really how they are and are not monitored, how the U.S. kind of looks at them and what they do differently with the supplements and like pharmaceuticals, which would be like your normal medications that you'd have prescribed to you from your doctor. Then Kristen's going to talk to you about some of the risks associated with kind of unsupervised use of some of these supplements and some of the problems that it can cause. And then Sina's going to talk as well about some of the supplements that do have proven medicinal value and some of the good things that we can get from using these products. So first off, just some statistics for you, and some of these were really kind of surprising for myself. So I didn't realize that 71% of U.S. adults take supplements. I knew that quite a few people do, but 71%, so really almost 3/4 of the U.S. population is taking supplements. A third of Americans are taking vitamins, multivitamins every day. And one thing to think about as we're going through this discussion, and it will really kind of point out why some of the things are the way they are, I think, is this last one here. The dietary supplement industry makes almost $40 billion a year selling these products. So $40 billion a year. Now, we're not going to tell you that vitamins are all bad, you shouldn't be taking your vitamins, and don't take supplements, and everything they say isn't the truth. That's not what we're here to do at all. There's definitely a lot of good information and a lot of good products out there that can be very beneficial for you. We definitely know that a lot of these supplements can be great in correcting some nutritional deficiencies. So what would that be? That would be something like, let's say for whatever reason, maybe someone's not able to get the normal amounts of different proteins, vitamins, carbohydrates that are suggested for a good, healthy diet. So something like protein. Well, there's definitely things that we can do to supplement that to help make sure that we're getting the amounts of those things that we need. And plenty of these supplements have been proven to help reduce the risks of certain diseases. We'll talk about some later that have definitely shown benefits in reducing cancer risk. And many can help prevent and treat different kind of just health situations, such as like taking vitamin D or calcium supplementation, for instance, if you have osteoporosis. I mean, those are definitely wonderful products that have and are super helpful in treating certain conditions. Unfortunately, it's not all good. So side effects. Even though they're vitamins, they're herbals, they're different supplements that you can buy without a prescription, you don't need to talk to anybody to get them, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no problems with them. And many, many of them have side effects associated with them that you would never know about. Increased risk for disease. We're going to talk about some too that actually can increase your risk for cancer. which would be something that you would never think, right? I'm taking a vitamin, some extra dietary supplement, and it's actually going to increase my risk for cancer. And the medication interactions is one of the biggest things that we really want to point out, and why it's so important that regardless of what kind of supplementations you're taking, that you make sure that the healthcare providers that you work with, your doctor, their pharmacist that you go to, know which supplements you are taking in order to watch these, because they can be very severe. And many of them contain harmful ingredients, and we're going to see why that's even possible here in just a moment. So, the facts. Some vitamins and dietary supplements definitely have shown health effects, and we're going to talk about many of those here with my colleagues shortly. But like I said, they are not risk-free. For instance, just one off the top of my head, I know Kristen's going to be talking about vitamin C. I'm sure you'll be surprised to see some of the things that can happen if you're taking your vitamin C incorrectly. And this number really surprised me right here. So it is possible to overdose on vitamins and dietary supplements. But I had no idea the number of actual ER visits that are caused because of supplements and vitamins. 20,000 emergency room visits a year in the U.S. due to vitamins and supplements alone. Think about that. 20,000 people end up going to the hospital just because of an over-the-counter vitamin or supplement that they're taking that maybe they shouldn't be, or that...
What kind of symptoms do they have that makes them go to the ER?
Well, and we'll talk about a lot of those different things, but it can be interactions with medications that they're already taking. Many of these different supplements, depending on how your body uses them, it can affect the way your body uses other things, other medications you might be taking. It can have a drastic effect of the amounts of those medicines in your body. So some of these things can make some of your medicines not work at all. So some of the things that you may be getting prescribed to you for whatever condition can be completely negated by some other vitamins and supplements. Others can actually keep them from your body breaking down. So you can actually get toxic levels of other things as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that can kind of go into play with these. And some of them just themselves can do things that, unfortunately, can send somebody to the hospital. And really the best, way to get any kind of vitamins into your system, if you're able, is just through a normal, balanced, healthy diet. Our bodies are amazing things. They were made, set aside. They were set kind of up to function around the things that we need. And our body's really good at getting those things out of the foods that we eat, the natural whole foods, vegetables, meats, the different proteins and carbohydrates that we take in. Our body can do a wonderful job in getting what we need out of those. So if we can, that's the best way by far to get the balances of those vitamins and supplements. So if you only take one thing from our talk today, from the whole thing, what we'd like you to take is that it's so important to talk to your healthcare providers about any kind of vitamins or supplements that you may be taking, or any that you're planning on taking before you start. Yes, ma'am?
Do most of them know enough about the supplement avenue that they would know that you were possibly doing an overdose on it?
Most of them, you mean like the different
GPs,
doctors?
Yeah, because your GPs would be the one that you probably would.
Some of the things, depending on, some of them are some of the side effects and things that would pop up would be something that would jump up like a red flag right away. That, hey, this isn't right. You shouldn't be getting these responses from what you're on. And then you can do a lot more exploration. Sometimes if they don't know that you're taking something at all, there'd be no real reason for them to start looking down that path.
But if you have them on your list.
Right. You always want to make sure that regardless of the product that you're taking, that it's on your medication list. Mm-hmm. And also, whatever pharmacy you go to, that's one of the main things. Pharmacists are much more attuned to all these interactions and kind of what different things can happen between these vitamins, herbals, and regular prescription medications that you're taking. So it's definitely an amazing resource that you all have available to you, is just to talk to the pharmacist that you're working with and making sure that they know which products that you're taking too.
Thank you.
So, why do we have some of the issues that we have? A lot of it comes down to this, and we're not going to get super into this, but we just wanted to touch on it because it does have a lot to do with why we have some of the issues with the vitamins and herbals that we do. So FDA regulation. When you go to your doctor and they prescribe you a medication, a pharmaceutical drug, so those drugs, and we all know that just your regular medications have certainly come with some side effects and issues too, right? Those things have actually, though, gone through vigorous testing with the FDA. So on average, like any kind of drug that you see that's actually released onto the market has gone through 12 years worth of development and trials just to get to the point where the FDA would say, okay, we think this drug is safe enough and has a reason to be out to the public. And then actually, after those drugs are released, they still do follow-up trials and testings. That's why you hear sometimes about such and such got taken off the market. It's because even though it's been approved, there's still testing and follow-up being done to make sure that, the drug is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's not causing more harm than good. Unfortunately, that is not the same case with the herbals and dietary supplements. So they don't have to go through the same vigorous testing. I mean, just you can see here in the bottom, just only 8% of the drugs that even start this process are released into the market because the FDA looks at them so vigorously. But like I said, unfortunately, not the same with dietary supplements. So with dietary supplements and vitamins, you'd probably be surprised to know that they don't have to go through any kind of checks from the FDA at all. None. There's none required whatsoever. That's why when you look at the bottles, you always see this. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. It's usually right after like the statement that's like got the sun in the backdrop, and it talks about how like one of these will make you feel wonderful every single day, and you'll remember everything you did, and you'll never forget stuff ever, and all your pain will be gone, and then boom, there's that. So manufacturers don't have to prove any of their statements. They don't have to prove the efficacy of those vitamins or herbals. They don't have to prove even what's in them in order to sell them in the U.S. It's very kind of surprising, isn't it? So, even if they know there's a side effect, so some of the products that we'll talk about have been being used by people for a very, very long time, and we have a really good idea of what they're good at and what problems they can cause. So even if there's a known side effect, they are not required to put that on the box. They're not required to put that on the label. And the only time the FDA is actually going to step in and do something is if they find out that there's been severe harm is being done by some of these medications. You may have kind of remembered over the years, a lot of this happens, I think, more so maybe in like dietary supplements. When you think about things like ephedra and some different stuff that we'll talk about, but where they start finding out that some of these things are causing heart attacks, severe issues, that's when the FDA will start to look at them closer and then can possibly pull things off the market. But they don't do any of that proactively, and they only do it in cases where there's been severe harm. The two main things that we come across with the vitamins and the herbals because of this lack of regulation is adulteration. So what that means is that the ingredients that it says that would be in like a drug you were prescribed or one of these herbal or vitamin products that you could purchase does not actually have what it says is in it. So here are some cases from 2009. So the FDA issued an alert for 75 different adulterated weight loss products. So one of them they found had a product in it called rimonabant, which it's a medication that's been linked to suicides. Finprorex was in one as well, and it's also linked to suicides and addiction. And do any of you take furosemide? Furosemide it's Lasix. They found that there was Lasix in some of these dietary products. Can you believe that? So you can see, just because of this lack of kind of oversight, you really have no idea what can be in a lot of these different products. Now, when we talk about economic adulteration, that's a little different too. Still, you're getting a product that doesn't have in it what it says it has in it, but unfortunately it's done even kind of more a notorious reason. So it's been estimated that 1 out of every 4 dietary supplement doesn't have the correct amounts of the ingredients in it. Even if it does have the right things, it's not the correct amounts. So in a 2013 study of glucosamine and chondroitin, which I'm sure a lot of you folks are taking as well, they found 7 out of the 16 products didn't have the amounts of chondroitin that it said it does. Well, why wouldn't they put enough chondroitin in it? Well, you can see glucosamine is really cheap. Chondroitin is not. It's expensive. So if they don't put quite as much that they said, no one's checking, right? And it's a lot cheaper for them to do that. But so 7 out of 16 didn't have the right amounts. There are some good things to look for, though. So voluntary testing, there's all these companies, a lot of them are very honest companies. They want to help people. They want to do what's right. And some of them even take the extra step to go through and pay an outside organization to do testing of their products so that you can be sure that when you get it, it actually has what it says it has in it. So when you're looking for your vitamins and your supplements, you want to look for these 2 labels. So we have the USP, which is United States Pharmacopoeia, and then NSF International is another testing organization. So what these companies will actually do is pay these outside organizations to test their products to say, yes, this product has what the manufacturer says it does have in it. And so when you are looking for products, I would strongly suggest looking for ones that have those labels as well. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen, and she's going to talk about something that I find amazingly interesting called the Dr. Oz effect. So I hope you will give her your attention.
All right, guys, we're going to continue on. So Rich just finished talking about the regulations behind our vitamins and supplements. And probably thinking, gosh, there's really not that much, right? Well, let's think about another aspect, advertising. That gets a lot of people drawn into these products, okay? So the Dr. Oz effect. He is not regulating our vitamins and supplements. He does, however, have an effect on the sales quite a bit, right? So a lot of the products that are on his show really get popularized and really increase the revenues of these sales. But really, the facts behind these products is frequently there's poor scientific data to really support the medical claims that he talks about on his show. And he's even admitted himself in front of Congress how a lot of these products won't even hold up to scientific scrutiny. So let's look at an example. Green coffee extract. This is a really good one. This one has completely blown up. I still hear about this, actually. And what he has claimed is that it has some magic weight loss for every body type. Well, we know every body type is very different. The truth is, the study was retracted by the researchers because of the falsification of the data. And look at the side effects here. And yeah, you're thinking, all of my prescription drugs have side effects that are a page long. Well, think about our over-the-counter products that are not quite tightly as regulated, and the side effects that may slide by that maybe wouldn't have with some of our prescription-regulated products. So here we have insomnia, restlessness, anxiety, nausea, vomiting, tachycardia, which is increased heart rate, and tachypnea, which is increased breathing. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I cut out. So anyways, the side effects, yes, extreme. You got to think about that too when you're looking at these over-the-counter products. Other advertising ploys, and I know this gets me all the time. Seeing these simple words, I mean, even in the grocery store this gets me, okay? So herbal, all natural, organic, that does not mean it's safe. It's just an advertising ploy to pull you in. And believe me, it pulls me in too. So just 2 examples here to give you, just an idea of how wording can be quite deceptive. So I really like the bottom one. A major university double-blind study found that not only did participants lose weight, but 78% of the weight was pure fat. I think the word study also gets everybody, because anytime you hear the word study, there must have been something really good that was found, right? And not necessarily. And what's great about doctors and pharmacists is we're trained to read the research and understand whether the study was done well and whether the facts are actually the truth. So what are our concerns with unsupervised use? Remember, health care in your life is going to be part of a team. You're one of the people that's on the team, actually, of your health care, right? If you are the only one on your team that knows that you are taking this medication, how can anybody else on the team help you? So remember, Always tell your healthcare providers what you are taking. And I know sometimes we forget that the over-the-counter stuff counts too, but it really does. So what's one concern? Taking more than recommended. People may take more than recommended either intentionally or unintentionally, and that can really cause harms. Vitamin C, something we probably don't even think that's that big of a deal, right? One large single dose here can cause nausea and diarrhea. I don't know about you, that doesn't sound comfortable to me. Or even an extended use can cause kidney stones. And anybody who's ever had a kidney stone knows how miserable and painful that those can be. Vitamin A, another supplement that we probably didn't think had risks. Higher than recommended doses can increase your risk of bone fracture. So let's think about this, our percent daily value. So when we're looking at the labels on the back of these bottles, we have supplement facts. They're really similar looking to our foods with the nutritional facts, and they can help guide you as well to understand what you're getting. So for example, vitamin A, you're getting 70% in this particular product of your daily total value. That's in one day, I'm getting 70% of what I need. Well, guess what? I also eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, probably snacks too, okay, and they have vitamin A in them. Probably. Sweet potatoes, carrots, kale, spinach, broccoli, even eggs and butter has vitamin A in it. Okay. Concern number 2, side effects. Ephedrine. That was a product that Rich slightly mentioned earlier. This was a product that was over the counter. It's structurally similar to methamphetamine. Can cause high blood pressure, elevated heart rate, abnormal rhythms in our hearts, heart attack, stroke, seizure. None of which are things I ever want to go through or see a patient go through. It's responsible for 155 deaths, including Baltimore Orioles pitcher who was the age of 23 when he passed away. This was actually banned by the FDA in 2004. So I know Rich said FDA does not regulate these supplements. However, in very extreme cases and unfortunately death, they can pull these products off the shelf. But it takes quite a bit, like I said, like death, to pull them off the shelf. Concern number 3, interactions with other medications. What can happen? Just like our prescription medications, when you go to the pharmacy, they're scanning over all of your drugs that are coming in. And they're making sure that there's no interaction between what you're already taking and what this new prescription is. Same thing here. Your pharmacist can do this too. Go up to the counter, ask them, does this have any interactions with the list that I have here? If there's something you don't get at the pharmacy you're at and they don't know about it, you need to tell them. Okay? So it can impact absorption. What does that really mean? When I take a tablet, I may only get a certain percentage of that actual dose. And it's really important that you do get that percentage in order for it to do its job, right? So if I'm impacting that dose that I get, I may not get the amount of the drug that I need to actually do its job. Metabolism, that's the way the medications are broken down in our body. So if I'm not breaking down the drug in my body correctly, it can build up and cause toxicity and many other effects. Okay, so St. John's wort is one really good example. It has interactions with hundreds of medications, things that you might be on: warfarin, antidepressants, sedatives. I'm surprised at this, birth control. So thinking about what would be beneficial for me. There's 3 kind of guidelines that you can go through. So this might be something, I know some of you have pen and paper, you might want to write down just to think about. The first thing you want to do not exceed the recommended daily intake. Consider what that recommended daily intake is for you. Remember, everybody's different. Remember, I'm eating food that contains most of these ingredients. Think about what you eat on a regular basis. Am I really consuming plenty? Probably most likely you are. Mm-hmm.
With the daily intake that they recommend on that, do they take into account an individual's weight everything like that, because I would say if your weight was 108 pounds, and somebody's weight was 230, I mean, there would be a much different effect of that daily intake that's recommended.
Right.
How do you know that?
So when they're getting these values, they take into statistics, essentially. So they're looking at some standard deviations, and they're looking for what that median average is. Yeah, so not necessarily specific to you, but this is a roundabout number that you should probably be at based off of this many people.
There's some good like just free applications online too that you could type in like protein calculator, and it'll tell you put in your weight and weight, age, sex, and it'll give you ideas on a lot of this stuff too. So there are definitely a lot of resources out there that you could look at and say, oh, okay, so I should be getting like.
But if you want something a little more individualized, we keep saying this, ask. Yeah, talk to your pharmacist, talk to your doctor, because they know more about you than the computer does. And so they can really guide you to help you figure out what would be best for you.
Thank you.
And in certain conditions, too, because the computer's not going to take care of that either. People with high blood pressure probably shouldn't have quite as much salt as others, right? Okay, so second thing to be aware of, adulterated products, which Rich kind of touched on a little bit. Look for the label, USP and NSF. Those labels are an extra certification that these companies did not have to go through, and these companies do look at the safety and the purity. The third one is talk to your healthcare provider, which I just said and I'm going to keep saying because it really is the most important thing. Everybody on the team needs to know what you're taking before you start. We can help prevent any problems that we can foresee in the future if we know beforehand. Okay? So the first supplement we want to talk to you about is vitamin D. It's one of probably the most commonly taken supplements over the counter. It is something we can get both from our diets and in the sun, but unfortunately 70% of Americans actually don't get enough of vitamin D in their diet. Why is it important to us? It's important for our bone health, and it can actually reduce the risk of colon cancer. That's quite interesting, and here are recommended daily values, 600 to 1,000 international units. Question? Oh, yes, sir.
So is this in reference to D2 or D3?
This is more general, but I believe we get D3 from our diet, correct? Yep. Okay, calcium, another common supplement. We can get this in our dairy products and many other foods contain calcium as well. Again, important for our bone health. Those vitamin D and calcium pretty much go hand in hand with our bone health. You have to have both in a balanced amount to have good bone health. Here are recommended daily values can be 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams daily. But keep in mind, too much is actually linked to prostate cancer and heart disease. So it is important to have a balance.
And how do you determine, I get one calcium, magnesium, and zinc supplement a day. But I also make smoothies, which has, the yogurt. So how do you know?
So look at your nutritional facts on the back of your yogurt, and you can see the percent daily value on there, as well as the supplemental facts on the back of your bottle of calcium. That will tell you how much. Now, if it's 70 and 70, you're getting too much, right? 70% of your total daily value. Okay? So keep that in mind. Look at the back, look at the labels, and then again, communicate with your healthcare provider. Fish oil. This contains omega-3 fatty acids. Probably you guys hear the fatty acids portion quite a bit. It is labeled with DHA and EPA or the other kind of abbreviations you may see. It does help prevent heart disease and stroke by reducing your triglyceride levels. It is something that has been found to work quite well, so just have evidence in that particular case. For individuals with coronary artery disease, the American Heart Association recommends 1,000 milligrams a day. However, people who eat fish twice weekly do not get any added benefit from a supplement. So right there, you're getting what you need of those omega-3 fatty acids. If you are looking for fish oil, be sure to avoid fish liver oil, and that's due to the high vitamin A content. So remember, high vitamin A amounts can increase your risk of bone fracture, and we don't want that to happen. Fiber. Most of us get fiber in our diet, hopefully. Whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, pretty typical items. It helps treat and prevent constipation, and also can help prevent heart disease, obesity, and varicose veins, which I find very interesting. So here we have the recommended daily values based off of your gender and your age. So this one's just a little bit different from the other ones we've seen, and a little more categorized. So as you age, you need just a little bit less fiber.
Can you get too much fiber?
You get too much of anything. Even people who get too much water coming in. Oh, fluid overload. Alright, folic acid. This one most people might think about pregnancy, as it is a supplement. The prenatal vitamins most likely have the folic acid in it. But why is it critical to us? Well, in pregnancy it's critical for fetal development and creation of red blood cells. For pregnancy, they recommend 400 micrograms daily. And again, these have risks. Too much may increase your risk of certain types of cancer. Garlic, another commonly seen one. Does have slight lowering of your blood pressure and reduces the risk of atherosclerosis. So most people are taking it for cardiac reasons. Does have limited evidence, however, of strengthening your immune system. So some people may take it for colds. I've seen that before. Lowering your cholesterol, reduce the risk of prostate cancer, colon, and stomach cancers. However, it has many interactions. For example, increasing the effects of blood thinners. It does increase your risk of bleeding. And more specifically, if you take it orally. But I'm not saying don't go get garlic nuts, because they're good. Alright, protein and amino acids. Most people probably know the sources of that: meat, eggs, fish, and poultry. Deficiency, though, can lead to muscle loss and weakness. And the recommended daily value here is based off of your weight, actually. So it's 360 milligrams per pound. So for a typical male, 60 grams a day. For a typical female, that's 50 grams a day. However, if you're more active, higher amounts are required. So now I'm going to pass it on to Sina, who's going to continue talking about our supplements.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? Alright. So my friends talked about some of the regulations, and they talked about some of the products out there. And I'm going to continue on and talk about some of the more controversial products that are out there available over the counter. So I would like to start with sharing two facts with you. Not everything that is available over the counter is going to benefit you. Some of them might even harm you. Alright? And the results may vary from individual to individual. Something that works for my cousin, it doesn't mean it's going to work for me too. Let me give you an example. Melatonin. Some people take it for insomnia, and it really works for them. However, there's millions of people out there who tried it, and it never worked for them. So that's a good example. That's why we always recommend you to talk to your doctor, to your physician, to your pharmacist, and they're the best sources to help you when you want to start a new product or when you want to discontinue one that you're already taking. So use those resources. Alright, now let's talk about one of the actual products out there. Let's switch the gears right now. So vitamin C, also called ascorbic acid, the daily amount that is recommended to take is up to 90 milligrams for males and 75 milligrams for women on a daily basis. Some people believe that if they get a cold and they start taking vitamin C in high amounts, like 500 milligram doses, 1000 milligram doses, it's going to help him to reduce the duration of the cold and also duration of the symptoms. However, that's not correct. There is some evidence out there that it shows that in people who are like physically stressed, like people who run marathon, if they take vitamin C on a daily basis, it will help them to reduce the chance of getting cold. Also, if you take the vitamin C on a regular basis, and then along the way you get like cold, there is some studies that show that it can reduce the duration of the symptoms. And of course, vitamin C, just like any other products is available to you over the counter, comes with side effects. And some of them are very, very important, such as kidney stones. It can cause diarrhea. It can cause a stomach acid reflux, which is the heartburn. It can cause dental erosion. It's an acid. And also fatigue and headache are other side effects associated with this product. Alright. Yes?
What is the recommended dosage of vitamin C for women?
Okay, it's up to 75 milligrams per day. Okay? And it is shown that if you take like 5 servings of fruit per day, like usually like the citrus product, like oranges, lemons, and limes, it will give you enough. So there is no reason to go ahead and buy vitamin C. Okay? You get it very commonly through your regular diet.
So milligram is more than mcg. That's confusing.
Yes. Microgram is a lower unit. It's a smaller unit. 1 milligram is equal to 1000 micrograms.
Great question.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm confused on things now that I'm seeing mcg, or like the only prescription drug I take is Suboxone. That's it. And I think it's 0.75 mcg.
Can you repeat what she's saying? Or just repeat it?
She's asking about milligrams versus micrograms, which is abbreviated mcg. So she's kind of just asking what the difference is between.
Okay, do you want me to repeat the answer? So, milligram and microgram, these are the units of measurement, okay? Like meters, inches, and feet, okay? So 1 milligram, the drug, these are very low number, low amounts. That's why they are in milligram and microgram for medication. So 1 milligram is equal to 1000 microgram. So that's the conversion. For example, if you have 5 milligram of something, if you're taking 5 milligram of one product, that means you're taking 5,000 microgram of it. So that's how you can do the conversion. Okay? All right.
One more question?
Yes.
So you had mentioned if you're eating foods that has vitamin C in it, you don't need to take the tablet, correct?
That's correct.
What if, because I will eat the food that vitamin C and I will actually take the tablet. Should I be cautious of that because I might get more?
That's a good question. Okay, so vitamins have 2 different categories. They come in lipid-soluble vitamins and also water-soluble vitamins. So K, E, D, A. Those 4 are the lipid-soluble ones, and you can absorb it and you can keep them in your body, so they stay in your body. Vitamin B and vitamin C are the water-soluble ones. And when you take like higher amount, usually like through urination, you're gonna get rid of the extra one. So there is not that much harm to them. Vitamin B, all of them, except for B12. B12 is the only vitamin B that's gonna stay in the liver and it's gonna be absorbed and stay there for a long time. So you need to be careful with that one. But the rest of the B's and C, usually okay, and you're gonna urinate the extra one out of the body, okay?
As long as you're not getting like much higher amount. So you want to make, if you get a little bit over, it's not something that you need to be really checking every single day to make sure I don't want to go over this number at all. If you vary a little bit, that's fine, but you don't want to get, twice the amount you're supposed to need, or you don't want to get the larger extra amounts. That's when you can start having some issues.
Can you discuss amino acids?
Amino acids, we're going to talk about it later on at the end of the just remind me so we can talk about those things too, okay? So, I would like to talk about one of the most popular products out there, glucosamine and chondroitin. In 1997, they started telling people that if you take these products, they will cure arthritis. They will reduce the arthritic pain. However, that was not correct. I'm going to talk about the studies later on. So after they said that, through the advertisement, people started taking those products. The sales skyrocketed in the United States, and actually it reached $2 billion in 2014. About 2.5% of Americans are taking these products on a daily basis. And here's the shocking news. A meta-analysis of 10 studies, clinical trials, on 3,800 people showed that it actually doesn't have any benefit for reducing the arthritic pain or curing the arthritis.
Question. Can it have benefit to help you not prevent the arthritis?
For prevention,
For prevention, that's what I'm interested in.
I haven't seen any studies out there that shows that you can prevent it.
Okay. 'Cause that's
And
what
when you get it, this latest meta-analysis of 10 clinical trials shows that it doesn't even help to cure it or reduce the pain. These two products, glucosamine and chondroitin, these are actual ingredients that are used in the structure of the cartilage. Okay? But the problem is they don't get absorbed into the cartilage structure. And that's why they usually cannot help with the reduction of pain or the cure of the disease.
I just thought it maybe was more preventative, but it is not proven to do that.
I haven't seen any studies out there to show that it can prevent it from happening. As I said, the problem is they cannot get into the structure of the cartilage.
Thank you.
That's the problem. Alright, is anybody taking beta-carotene here? Alright, not a very popular one. This beta-carotene can be converted to vitamin A in the body in very slight amount. It is believed that it can help with the eye health, it can help with the treatment of the oral cancer, and it can improve the immune system and also prevent the sunburns. However, the studies have shown that this product can increase the risk of heart diseases, it can increase the risk of bladder, stomach, and lung cancer, and it also can increase the intracranial hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain, in the people who take alcohol in high amounts on a regular basis. And based on all those side effects, it will increase the mortality.
We have a question
Sure.
from online. Is B12 bad for the liver? She was told to take the supplement and she has been taking it.
Well, no. I mentioned that, no, it's not bad for the liver, but what it does, it's going to be accumulated in the liver. So if you take it more than what you needed, I think it's going to have accumulation in the liver, and if it's more than what you need, it might cause like some harm in the long term. But by itself, it's not going to harm you. Vitamin B12 is one of the essential vitamins that you need to take. But extra, definitely, because it's going to be accumulated in the liver.
Okay, so just be careful about that you're taking only what is prescribed or recommended by your physician.
Yes, because if people are low on vitamin B12, there is vitamin B12 injection, which is the prescription, and also you can get it from the over-the-counter, like it's like the oral form. And yeah, if you're low, then you need to take it, but definitely your doctor is going to monitor that and make sure that you're not getting extra, more than what you need.
Great, thank you.
Like the B vitamins, there's, and as well as B, they break them down into D3. You know what I mean?
Yes, there is vitamin D, there is two vitamin Ds, vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. Vitamin D2 is the one that's also called ergocalciferol, which is obtained from the plants. That's the vitamin D2 that you get from the plants. Vitamin D3 is the one that you get from like the animals, from the animal products, okay? So these two are convertible to each other when they go in the body, and both of them together help to increase the level of vitamin D that you need throughout the body. Also, you can get the vitamin D through a reaction in the skin when you're exposed to the sunlight. So, and the one that is made through that exposure to the sunlight, I think that's the vitamin D3. It's also the vitamin D3 that is made in your skin. So these vitamins, D2, D3, they both work in the same way. They're interconvertible through chemical reaction in your body, and they all help with the having the right amount of vitamin D that you need in your body as a supplement, which is very important, as my friend said, for osteoporosis and bone abnormalities. And vitamin B, as we said, vitamin B is a group of vitamins like vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, B7, B6, B12, B9, and they have different names also, and they all have their own function in the body. All right? And we can talk about all these functions if you have questions about every single one, and then we can talk about it in the question section. Yes, ma'am.
If you're just getting some vitamin E and the multivitamin, though, that's not going to affect the man for prostate cancer. It's people who are taking additional supplements, correct?
Okay, here's the thing. Are you talking about vitamin E?
Correct.
Vitamin E is one of the ones that it's very rare in people to have deficiency of vitamin E. It is present in many food products, okay?
Right. But you can't take it out of a multivitamin.
You don't have to. You don't have to, because that's a low amount.
Okay, that's it.
Okay?
Yep.
You don't have to take it out. But you don't need to be on multivitamin and then get vitamin E separately too and just double dose, and you also get it from your diet. You know?
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about vitamin E here. It is believed that it can help with the cancer. It can improve the eye health and also prevent the heart diseases. There was a study done about like 35,000 people, male patients, and it showed that it can increase the risk of prostate cancer. Also, a larger study at the Johns Hopkins has shown that it can increase the risk of death. Basically, that last bullet point on the bottom is a quote, direct quote from Mayo Clinic. They believe that taking vitamin E at very high doses can increase the risk of mortality from any cause by a small amount. And as I said, for the answer to that question, vitamin E deficiency is very rare, and you get it through the diet, and you don't need to be on extra doses. The maximum daily amount that you need to take, and that could be still safe, is 400 international units. But it's been shown that even if you take amount like higher than 150 international units, it can come with all those side effects of mortality. Alright, so in the United States, one of the major problems is overweight and obesity. And everybody wants to lose weight, right? And that's the product out there. So bitter orange is used for weight loss. It's also used for allergies and nasal congestion. It contains an active ingredient which is called synephrine. The structure is very similar to ephedrine, which is a stimulant, and that's how the stimulants work. The stimulants reduce the appetite, and when the appetite is reduced, you're gonna lose some weight. However, this product comes with a lot of side effects, and actually the studies have shown that the harm from this product outweighs the benefit. And here are the side effects of this product. It's a stimulant basically. It increases the heart rate, increases the chance of heart attack, a stroke, arrhythmias, and death as a cause of all those side effects. Yohimbe. Alright, it is believed that Yohimbe can help with erectile dysfunction. It can help with diabetic neuropathy, which is the tingling sensation at the tip of the finger and the toes, and also weight loss and athletic performance. Yohimbe contains an active ingredient which is called yohimbine. It used to be a prescription medication, but FDA removed it from the market just because of the harm that it caused to the patient. There is actually evidence out there that it can really help with the erectile dysfunction, and again, it comes with a lot of side effects that just mask the benefit. The main side effects are high blood pressure, increasing the risk of heart attacks, renal failure, hallucination, and also seizures and anxiety. The last product that I want to talk about is one that has a wider range of consumers. It is also used in children, multivitamins. Over 1/3 of American people are on multivitamins. According to the study at Johns Hopkins, multivitamins do not help you to reduce the risk of heart diseases, cancer, and mental and cognitive impairments. Studies have shown that if you take more than 7 multivitamins per week, in male patients, it can increase the risk of prostate cancer. And here's a good data about multivitamins. It shows that a recent lab test has been done on 41 multivitamins, and they found out 32% of them have problems. And one of the major problems with these multivitamins was that they had higher amounts of active ingredient that was supposed to be in them, higher than regular daily intake that you need. So they basically overdosed the consumers. Now, I would like to summarize the major points that we talked about through this presentation.
Just from your
Yes.
knowledge then, are you saying then if you eat a fairly well-balanced diet, then you really don't need, because of its risk, to take a multivitamin?
You just answered my question. I was going to ask a question here. I was going to ask, what is the best source for the essential nutrients that helps your body to function properly? And you just gave me the answer. That's the balanced, healthy diet. That's what you need. However, some people can still have deficiency. If you come up with deficiency, you can consult your doctor or your pharmacist, and then you go and get the right product for that deficiency. One thing that I want everybody to remember is that these products are not subject to the same level of FDA scrutiny that is applied to the prescription medication. So just be smart. It is a good idea to do some research before you're getting these products and you're starting on them.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And over here, we have talked about the nutritional fact label. We said that unfortunately they're not always accurate. You always need to look for those two companies, logos on the product, USP and NSF. Those are the agencies that are responsible for verification of the accuracy of that information on the labels. So just make sure you look for them when you're consulting the labels on any products out there. And finally, even though it is prohibited and against the law in the United States to give people false and misleading information through advertisement, it still happens. And that's why we always emphasize that you need to talk to your doctor talk to your pharmacist to make sure you're getting the right medication, the right over-the-counter product, right supplement, and right vitamin that improves your health condition and your quality of life. Here are the references that we use for this presentation. I would like to say thank you to every single one of you for attending this presentation and listening to us. It was a pleasure and honor for me and my friends at SMH to have this opportunity to talk to you about these products. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this presentation. Now we're ready for more questions if anybody have questions. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about probiotics? That's the latest.
All right. That's one of the questions that we get all the time. There is different probiotics out there. You go to CVS, Walgreens, and you see a lot of them on the counter, right? And you come to the pharmacy and which one should I get? All right, let me tell you that. So there is no evidence that this one is better than the other one. What I would tell people, just go with the cheapest one. Try it for 2 weeks. See if it works for you. If it worked, that's the right product for you. If it didn't work, switch to another one. But I always start with the cheapest one. That's my own opinion because there is no studies out there that shows that one is better than the other one when it comes to probiotics.
And again, that's one of those things too you can get in a lot of foods, yogurts, different stuff as well. So, and one more thing, just wanted to point out for, there's so many different kind of supplements. There's so many different kind of, vitamins. A great resource where you can get information that, a site that you can go to that's not loaded with advertisements for other things. That's just going to give you information about the different drugs or supplements or vitamins. Is medlineplus.gov. That's Medline, and so it's MEDLINE.
That's one word.
Yep, all one word. Medline Plus, all one word. .gov. It's actually a website that's put together by the U.S. National Library of Medicine, and it'll tell you what the different things are, what they're usually given for, what side effects they have, on all the things. I won't go into like specific brand names or anything like that, but it'll give you the information about whatever that type of product is, and then answer a lot of questions that you might have without any of the bias of advertisements or companies or anything else.
Yes, ma'am?
I have eye issues, and it was recommended that I take lutein and bilberry, and so that's one of the things I take. But
Yeah.
does that interact with other things?
All right. So,
First, repeat the question.
okay, the question was, what was the right product if you want something for the improvement of the eye health? So, as we talked about through these studies, vitamin E is something that helps with the eye health, but you get it through the diet. Bilberry is one other thing that I heard about, and I know some people are taking it. There is not a strong evidence for helping with the eye improvement of the eye health, but that's one thing that people usually use for cataract, glaucoma, and also they use it for improvement of the vision. As far as the interactions goes, I'm not really sure if it has interaction with any other medications, but I can go ahead and look up that information for you and see if it really interacts with something, because I'm not 100% sure on that. Yes, ma'am.
I have a family member who loves to advise. She's not a doctor. But she says everyone should take probiotics. You're saying take the cheapest and see if it helps. If I don't have a problem, she said everyone should take probiotics and curcumin. What would you say? And I don't know why.
I mean, you don't have to be a doctor. Okay, the question was, like one of the family members who is not a doctor is recommending taking this, like probiotics, and what was the other one? Curcumin. So, is that right to take them? Curcumin, I would say no. Probiotic is promoted as being helpful for improving the GI function, the function of the intestine and stomach. But if you don't have any problem, why would you take something?
Yeah.
It is highly recommended to take it if you're on prolonged duration of antibiotics, because what the antibiotic does is going to kill the normal flora. Normal flora is the bacteria in your stomach, in your intestine that helps with the digestion of the food, and it has also other benefits for you. So when you start taking antibiotics, the job is to killing the bacteria, but now you're killing the good bacteria, okay? So you don't want them to be dead because you get diarrhea. That's why you get diarrhea when you take antibiotics. So when you're on antibiotics, it's a very good idea to start on probiotics. It will definitely help to just replace that normal flora, the good bacteria that dies off because of the antibiotics. But other than that, if you don't have any problem, if you don't have diarrhea, if you don't have GI problems, intestine problem, digestion problem, I don't see any reason to take that product. You want to save your money for better things, I guess. So.
You say no quickly to curcumin. What is it supposed to do?
Well, I'm not familiar with curcumin, but do you guys know anything about that product? 'Cause I'm not very familiar with
It's
that.
also called turmeric.
Oh, turmeric?
Curcumin and turmeric.
A lot of turmeric too you could get in foods. So I mean, it's something that you could take in capsule form. I believe it's supposed to help with, some arthritis pain
And anxiety.
So I mean, it's not something that it's more of like a spice really. So it could be used easily in foods. You could take turmeric capsules. They have it in capsules. There's again, we could take a look to make sure that there's not any kind of big interactions. But I don't believe there's a lot of interactions with that one, or in the amounts that you'd be taking it. I don't think it'd be something that you'd have to really be kind of overly alarmed with. But again, it's always something that's good to talk about and to check. But that one, I don't think there'd be there's not any glaring harms with some of the things that are a lot more your kind of heavy hitters with the interactions and possible side effects, things like like St. John's worts or some of those other herbal medications.
Turmeric also is being used for cancer prevention or to lower the risk. And there's a lot of studies going on around that. That's why people are talking about it so much.
Just one more kind of tip on family members or friends, or even I've seen my friends on Facebook posting things. If anybody ever tries to recommend anything to you, I think the best thing to do is really to ask for the research behind it. Where's that paper, that body of evidence that really shows that I should be taking it? And then maybe if that is something you're considering based off of what you read, take that information with you to your healthcare provider, to your doctor, to your pharmacist. And like I said before, we've all kind of reiterated, decide with your team whether that's going to be a product for you.
A question about fish oil. I've read that it's better, instead of using pills, to take the liquid ones because they don't, the pills usually expire or lose their potency. And what is the difference also with krill oil? What is krill oil and fish oil different?
So her question is asking if there's really any difference between taking the capsule of the fish oil and the actual liquid.
Yes.
I don't know in terms of potency. I'd have to look at the particular products to understand what the difference is really. Really, the difference between any kind of crushed together tablet or capsule versus a liquid is it doesn't have to quite break down quite as much in your body to get into your system.
I take omega-3 and fish oil. Is that a good combo?
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, so she asked, is omega-3 and fish oil, now I'm mixing them, are they different? So she's talking the same thing. Or she was, yes, but she was asking whether fish oil, she can take fish oil and omega-3, and those are the same product.
So what is a krill oil? Is it different?
I'm not sure. Concentrated version of fish oil. So just more concentrated,
Just more
supposedly has more bioavailability when you take that, so you have to take less.
Okay.
One thing to look at when you're taking the liquids though, especially with like the fish oils, liquids sometimes, and people can cause a lot more stomach problems, indigestion, a lot more of the unfortunate taste that you can get from some of those.
And like Kristen had said earlier, usually 2 servings of fish a week. If in your regular diet, if you get 2 servings of fish a week, you're going to get all the omega-3 that you really need, and it's not even necessary to do the supplement. One thing to keep in mind, like we talked about kind of a lot, and how great it is just to get these products or these vitamins and essential nutrients through your regular normal diet, is because the way your body breaks it down and then disperses it the way that your body needs. When we're getting a lot of these different things in supplements or vitamins and forms, a lot of the times we don't even absorb it. So they can put anything for you in a vitamin in a pill form and give it to you. Unfortunately, so much of this money, that $40 billion that people spend every year in the U.S. on vitamins, literally they just rent for about half of a day. It just goes right on through. You don't get any benefit from it whatsoever because the body's not made to absorb it in certain forms that they're providing it in. And in the amounts. Our body can absorb lots of things, but it absorbs things in certain amounts too. And sometimes when we load it up with these crazy amounts that we get in some of the vitamins, you're not going to absorb that much from one sitting anyway. And again, just going right on through. So primarily, the main way to get a lot of these things is just through the diet if you can. And then if you can't, and depending on what kind of health conditions you might have, like I said, working with your doctor and with your pharmacist, making sure that you know the things that you may need extra supplementation on, and then finding the reputable place to get this supplement from is really kind of the scoping across a lot of the different products. Yes, ma'am.
Garlic, you were talking about, can be a blood thinner also, right?
Well, it can have effects with some of the different blood thinners. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so most doctors recommend that you take a baby aspirin, but if you're cooking a lot with garlic, then would that do the same thing, that it would kind of affect?
They're different. They're kind of different potencies, and in the way that you're going to get it from taking that daily aspirin for your heart health, it's going to be much more consistent and just regular. It's not going to vary as much as even like with food. Food, the amount of something that you're going to get from that food, depending on how you're cooking it. Some cooking ways too will kind of kill off some of the amino acids, some of the proteins, some of the things in those products too by the heat. So something like an aspirin, replacing it for garlic, I wouldn't suggest.
Yeah, but I mean, like nowadays, doctors, it seems like, say you're 50, they say, oh, your age, you have to start taking it, even if you don't have problem as a preventative. But if you're using garlic, wouldn't that?
I would still start taking it because even if you're using the garlic regularly, you're not going to be getting it kind of the same way and in the regular amounts throughout the day, continually. That you would by taking the baby aspirin. And where a lot of those things come from too, where they say, okay, it's you're 50, it's time to start doing this, and we're going to start looking at these different preventative measures, is because of a lot of all these studies. And I mean, there's thousands and thousands of studies that are performed in amazing institutions all over the world, and all this information gets pulled together and pulled together and pulled together, and that's where when you see kind of a treatment start to change for something, or they decide that at this age group it's best to look at this, or in men it's better to look here, or women, it's from all this data that's continually getting compiled and people are looking at to try to provide the best answers they can to whatever is going to be really individual for almost everybody, because we're all a little bit different. So it's just taking that information and just kind of using it like you said.
Just to reiterate what he's saying, that's called evidence-based medicine. Your doctor's prescribing something, there's evidence behind that. With garlic, there's just not the literature. We don't have the evidence. We don't have the evidence on many of these things. Some we do, and that's the ones that your physician's going to be able to help determine the best. Can you hear me? But just be careful. If he's asked you to take it, you're not sure, you think you take enough garlic every day to counter or do what the baby aspirin is, please check with him first. Let him know how much garlic you really are taking, and let him make the decision on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me 1 second? She was talking about the medication that increase the chance of bleeding. Well, anything that starts with G, letter G, and you see it over the counter, that increases the chance of bleeding.
Most likely. Not all. Most likely.
Yeah, so those are the ones that you need to be careful.
That's why I'm asking you that. It's not me, it's my husband. And sudden I noticed he was getting brown spots. He would go like this, start bleeding really a lot, and to me that's not normal.
Yeah, garlic is one of those things that increases the chance of
I mean,
bleeding.
he doesn't have anything wrong with him, so, you know.
And yeah, but as far as the replacement goes with aspirin, like that's just a temporary side effect of this thing. That's not something good that you want to use to, to use for like as a blood thinner. That's a side effect of garlic. Aspirin is used for decreasing the chance of clot formation in your blood, and it just does it like on a regular basis, and it's like a permanent effect. That's the main effect of this product. So they're not comparable to me. So yeah.
Should we take the aspirin? I take 81.
Uh-huh.
Should I take it every day or should I skip it?
No.
Take it every day?
Baby aspirin is if it's recommended for you by your doctor or physician, you have to take it on a daily basis, every 24 hours, okay? And it's always a good idea to take it with food, because these products are like acidic nature, and they can cause stomach upset and those kind of things. So we take it on a daily basis, every 24 hours, and preferably with food.
I have one more question.
Sure.
I did mention about Herbal. Do you have any studies on Herbal? That product that they
And I told you we didn't, but we can find out for you. But
So no.
I'm told if you're on a statin drug, that it helps to take CoQ10, which I do. Is that right?
Yeah, that's like the CoQ is used for heart health. It can help with the hyperlipidemia. It can help with the hypertension, and basically it just regulate the heart function. It is said that it's helpful, and there are some studies out there that they show that it really helps, and there is no problem taking CoQ10 with the statin medication. There is no interaction, if that's the question.